Conclusions, finally, getting to the end of this research project. So I'll try to make this one short, get to the point so you guys can get writing. But first and foremost, what you need to do before you really begin your conclusion, or maybe you're in the middle of it, I want you to brainstorm again. So grab a piece of paper, grab a pencil, and just jot down everything you think and everything you know, and try to organize it into groups about what you know about this issue now. And specifically, I also want you to come up with what are your own opinions, what do you think are the causes to this issue, why are people so controversial about it, and perhaps even what are some solutions? How could we bring these two sides together, or how could we sway people's opinions in one way or the other? I think this is going to be really, really important to get your ideas down first now that you've done all of your research. So a couple of things that I want you to include in this. Number one, yes, you can use the first person. You can use I, can use me, can use my. Use it sparingly. I don't want every sentence to begin with I believe. And you also can't use we, can't use us, can't use our. That's too broad of a statement. This is about you. This isn't about you and me. And that's what happens when we say that word we. Also, this is your opinion. This is your conclusion. But back up your ideas with sources and evidence that you've read. This is not your time to go on a rant. You are now an educated adult about your issue and your topic. Write about it as such. Write about it from an informed opinion. Keep in mind, sort of some things to include are recaps of the arguments from both sides, and then sort of thinking about yourself, like what do you agree or disagree with both of those sides? It gets so specific, like I like this from this argument, and I really disagree with this from this argument because of these reasons. Ultimately, I'm trying to get you to build a thesis about what you believe and why do you believe it. That's ultimately what we're trying to get at, and not just why we believe it because of what we feel in our gut, but why we believe it because of the articles and the research that we've read. So after you kind of build what you agree and what you disagree with, really go into, you're an informed adult now. What are some things that America could do to address the causes of this problem, to create some solutions to this controversy, or even just take a broader look at what are the effects that this issue is having on America that maybe some people are overlooking. That could be a very, very important part of your conclusion. Basically, I'm asking you to go beyond just what you've read and what you've reported on, and synthesize it. Go a little bit further. Some questions to consider if you're having some trouble. How could you extend the ideas the previous sources put forth? Similar to that idea of like, okay, here's all these thoughts that I've had. What next? Where do we go next? You could try to add something new to the conversation. Maybe you did all your research and you can't believe, like, I read all this research and I can't believe nobody was talking about this idea. Like, this matters in my life, or I see this happening all the time in my issue, but no one's written about it, at least that I found. Add that to the conversation. Or how you draw that knowledge and wisdom from both sides to kind of advance the debate. A lot of times when we get into right versus wrong, left versus right, black versus white, we kind of end at a standstill, right? We got these two sides of controversy that just kind of push against each other and nothing changes. Well, what could you try to do to change these people? What could you try to do to change their perspectives or how people are looking at this debate? One more thing to help you out, and that is play the so what game. So when you're writing your conclusion, when you're brainstorming and you're writing, at the end of every sentence, kind of like a 2-year-old, ask yourself, so what? And then answer that question. So I'll give a brief example. If I was writing my conclusion about standardized tests, it might go something like this. Well, ultimately, I think standardized tests cause too much students on students. It causes too much stress on students. So what? Well, so these kinds of tests aren't really focused on learning. They're focused on knowing, and that causes stress. Mixing tests of knowing with stress is damaging to the positive effects students should have on education. Okay, so what? So students have a negative image of education. Why does that matter? So if society wants students to accept their education and actually engage in it, administrators need to find a way to help find ways of increasing expectation without also increasing stress, which is what standardized tests do. So what? You can just kind of go on and on and on like this. We're going to play this game on Wednesday, so if you're gone, play this game by yourself and see how much you can come up with. Not all of it's 100% gold, but usually you can get to the type of information that we're looking for in a conclusion. All right, good luck. I'm excited to see the end of these papers.